Did you know that our journey of Truly Yours started long before Truly Yours even existed? It was on New Year's Day in 2015. Frido, the kids, and I took a long drive to visit my parents. These long rides always bring forth such meaningful conversation, and this wasn't an exception. Frida and I were brainstorming about our 5 years plan, which is more like 5 years dreams rather than a plan. Usually I have a pretty clear vision of my hopes and dreams since I am intuitive and they come naturally to me. But on that day, I couldn't see my vision for BK very clearly. That day, the weight of consumerism felt like it was all on my shoulder. We opened our online store 5 years prior, then a brick and mortar 1.5 years prior. All I could think of was that I didn't want to keep chasing consumerism like other retailers. Remind you that this was New Year's Day, so the advertisement and hard sell of retailers, both physical and online, had been at full force for a few months, and I was personally so exhausted by the full flight effects of the holidays. Frido was surprised. He knew how hard I worked to get BK to where it was at the 5-year mark. And he asked, well, you have a retail store and you don't want to sell things anymore? But it was confusing to me too. I was not going to quit BK because I wholeheartedly believed in BK and the value we held. And I knew that the artifacts we shared with our community added a lot to our customers' lives. Maybe because of that personal connection I had with the customers, through all the emails and conversations I exchanged, it was hard for me to imagine Baum-kuchen adding more things and clutter into their homes. Well, that day I wasn't sure where we were headed with the conversation, but I made sure to put a little index tab on the mental note as something I needed to continue reflecting on. Well, after that day, I continued to pour time and care into BK by sharing stories of the artifacts we curated and made deliberate choices to work with artisans and craftsmen whom we felt the connections with. So at BK, what we did was not necessarily selling things, but more of sharing something we loved. Along the way, we hosted a really fun workshop with Diana and Wes of 1.61 soft goods. The concept of the event was to help our TN customers to build richer connection with their TN covers by adding more personal meaning to their TN covers. On the day of the workshop, Diana and Wes graciously brought their vintage embossing machines from their downtown workshop, and we co-hosted BK 1.61 Inspiration Lab. The workshop was invigorating and really engaging. We got to watch many Analogue enthusiasts bring their personal traveler's notebook covers they used and loved for a long time. And they watched so closely and intentionally as Diana and Wes added the embossing to their covers. The process was almost like watching someone get a permanent tattoo on their skin, with commitment and intention. And I knew we were onto something. Fast forward a few years, we invited the TSL family to co-host a workshop in our Glassell Park studio. They were open to letting me brainstorm on the direction of the workshop activities, so I contemplated the idea for a while. Knowing their background and some of the leathercraft workshops that they have done before, I could have settled with an intimate leathercraft workshop where attendees could create a leather wallet or leather tray, and that would have been really cool too. But I kept telling myself, but I think there's something different we might be able to do. That's when I stumbled upon the idea of Truly Yours. What if our guests could bring their traveler's notebook and collaborate with BK and TSL to transform the experience of TN to truly reflect who they are and how they're using their traveler's notebook? Would it work? And can I pull it off? Well, we would be not only designing a brand new workshop style, but also creating original customization parts and services that were never done before. I knew from the psychological aspect that it takes time and repetition of it for new ideas to feel comfortable and to stick. Will our community be ready to accept this out-of-the-box idea? Well, it was a risk and there were uncertainties, but we decided to move forward because if we could design a way to help our customers have a longer-term relationship with their traveler's notebook, we will be adding more meanings to what they already own instead of selling more new things. I was so grateful that there were plenty of BK community members who felt the same way about their Analogue experience. The 2018 Inspiration Lab with TSL was a huge success, and from there on we have been working diligently to bring the Truly Yours service to our community. In the last 4.5 years, TSL generously offered training to BK team members so we could confidently provide the Truly Yours service from our studio in California. The leather parts we sew at BK are beautifully crafted at TSL with impeccable craftsmanship. Without their support and in-depth knowledge of the leather craft, the Truly Yours service would not have existed. And in the last 4.5 years, we transformed more than 500 travelers' notebooks into Truly Yours. Though the number of travelers' notebooks we have worked on seems a lot, every time we receive a customer's beloved traveler's notebook, I hold it with gratitude and admiration. To be trusted to work with the one-of-a-kind traveler's notebook is such an honor. It means so much to me, and I don't take the responsibility lightly. At the same time, I'm in awe. I marvel at all the journeys that specific TN might have been on and wonder where it might go next after it's done with a little mini vacation at BK Studio. I'm also so inspired by the design ideas each customer comes up with. Some people are minimalist and others are more expressive with their designs, and that's okay. There's really no right or wrong way to make your TN truly yours, and that's the beauty of the concept. As far as my quest for steering BK to be an intentional and conscious business, I'm grateful that Truly Yours is one way not only to address the intention but to thrive with the service. But I don't think it's the end of our quest. The pursuit to bring more meaning to a customer's life instead of more things is never ending to me, and a party will be for the rest of my BK life. So when our next small or big idea strikes us in whatever the format that might be, I hope you join us in.